You're listening to a bonus episode of the Public Health Epidemiology Careers Podcast.
Welcome to the Public Health Epidemiology Careers Podcast, where we explore public health epidemiology careers and share tips and strategies to help you enter or transition into the field. And now, your host, Dr. Charlotte Hughes Huntley.
As I record this podcast episode, this is a bonus episode that I will air immediately. So this is May 31st of 2020, and it's roughly 4 p.m., 4:19 to be exact, in Eastern Time. This is written, this is a post written, actually a story that my nephew wrote and posted on social media. And I read it. I was moved by it. I actually called him and asked first if this was something that he wrote himself or he found it somewhere. He said, "No, Auntie, I wrote it myself from scratch." So then I asked if it was okay that I record it and share it on my podcast with my entire community. And he was like, "Oh, no, that's great." So with Jadon's permission, I'd like to share his story. And he has no idea the level of wisdom in his words. He can't possibly understand the level of wisdom in his words. But I think that there's so many lessons in here. So I'm going to attempt to read this. I've tried it a couple of times unsuccessfully, but let's try this again. And I hope to get all the way through this one. And I'm going to ask that you share this episode with everyone in your network. I think it is an excellent message and excellent explanation from the mouth of a 15-year-old young man. All right, let me pull this up. Okay. Again, Jadon wrote the story to help people understand the reaction to injustice and injustices. Okay, so the story goes. One night, a boxing match took place in a huge stadium with millions of fans. The two contenders were minutes away from the fight. Contender 1 knew he was more powerful than Contender 2. In fact, Contender 2 didn't even want to fight Contender 1, but was forced to. Before the match, it was announced that Contender 2 was not allowed to hit or defend Contender 1 for 3 rounds. Contender 2 was beaten relentlessly, blood dripping from his nose and mouth. His lips and eyes swollen from continuous blows. His breath staggered. When the 4th round was about to begin, Contender 2 was told he could defend attacks, but could not make attacks himself for 1 round. Barely recognizing the syllables and words coming out of his mouth, he understood and complied. He defended himself the best he could, but was still taking punch after punch after punch. The crowd stood there. Some were outraged at the injustice of this match. Others argued, he is the one deciding to stand up. Most of the crowd stood quiet. Contender 2 could barely stand straight, his face almost unrecognizable. His staggered breath now loud enough for the whole crowd to hear. Yet Contender 1 had barely broken a sweat, but Contender 2 was still standing. Before the 5th round commenced, many complaints forced the announcer to dismiss all disadvantages given to Contender 2. The crowd rejoiced as they were about to see a fair match take place. However, Contender 2 had already been beaten so badly it was physically impossible to defeat Contender 1. He knew if he wanted to stay alive in this match, he couldn't abide by the rules of boxing, so he kicked him. He bit him. He pulled Contender 1's hair and attacked him where no man should be attacked. Anything just to level the playing field and stay alive. At that moment, the crowd roared a loud boo in the stands. "Hey, you're not allowed to kick and bite in boxing. He's playing dirty. He's horrible boxer. What a savage. Kick him out of the ring. Think about contender one's safety. What a monster. Just look at his face. This match is still being fought today and tomorrow and the next day. And before you judge the style or fighting methods of contender 2, remember the injustices and unfair laws he faced in the beginning of the story. Thank you. Jadon, thank you very much for, number one, taking the time to write this out. I think it was very therapeutic for you to be able to put this story together and to just kind of articulate your thoughts. I think it is a great way to try to help other people understand, because you are looking at this clearly from different angles, realizing that some people just don't get it, and you're trying to help other people understand while you're still hurting and processing this yourself. And then the other part of that, number 3, I guess, is I'm proud of you for using your platform to share your message. I want you to know that your aunt is proud of you. And I want you to continue to share your word, your message, speak your truth, and strive for peace. When Jadon posted this, he posted it with an expression, feeling inspired. Jadon, continue to be inspired and take inspired action. That's all for now. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to the Public Health Epidemiology Careers Podcast at drchuntley.com.